This very easy lah.
Yeah. Opposite. Yeah, like this. Yeah. No, this is their eyes. Like this.
One? No, I don't know. We don't have one.
Here, we have.
Yeah? So it means I promise to stay with you for a long time, right? Maybe forever. A person like Chatterjee, who was a graduate of ARI, a gifted graduate, went back, implemented for over 20 years what he learned, and then who is a great educator as well, is just the right person to come back to ARI to share with participants how it's done, how you take this theory, go back with all of the challenges that you face, use local resources, and adopt it to the local situation. And not only can he talk about how it's done, but he can give the encouragement that it really is possible. So that's why a person like Chatterjee really is crucial to fill that gap that we have here at ARI in our curriculum.
I come from Cameroon, northwest region of Cameroon. We have the highlands and the savanna areas. And most people there, because of overhunting and overgrazing, they're cutting down the forest. The land is almost bare. So we try to, what I think I can go back and share with them are the various teachings of Chatterjee as he explained. You have to start gradually with the very common people, and you maybe create some groups or understanding, or maybe myself we create a little bit of demonstration plot for the people to see and then copy. Because when we just tell them or teach them, they will not get to understand very well. But when there's a demonstration plot where everybody can come and see, it becomes very interesting for the local people. Our people, they don't confine the animals. They leave them stray. They don't confine. So at least when you advise them that when they confine, they will concentrate the manure. Yeah, they will concentrate the manure on one spot to be used. But when they are loose, they just move about. You make a fence, and then you keep your animals inside, especially cows or goats. Then they stay there for about 3 weeks to 1 month. They deposit manure and urine. Then you shift them to another place. They're confined. Then you use that one now to walk various vegetables and crops. Then the next year you can go back now to the other side. Chatterjee took it to touch many areas. For example, he went to sustainable agriculture in the tropics. He tried up to permaculture, and he really went deep into the activities of the marginalized people, how he brought the pictures to us from his explanation.
In Uganda, we are depending on monoculture. Yeah, because we are producers of maize mostly. So most of the farmers produce one type of food, and it is a problem. So his teaching, I think, is more important to my community.
In Japan, also we have local wisdom for farming, but in India, also they have a lot of local wisdom, and then that wisdom is different from Japanese. And then their situation in India is much more closer to the participant countries, and closer to the situation of the farmers in tropical areas. So that's why we invite him.
He told us about many trees which are medicinal. So I have to find about them. Because he told us when you plant trees, they can be medicinal, they can be fed to animals. So when you design your farm, it can be utilized, everything can be utilized throughout. So when I follow his teaching, I think my farm will not be a failure.
The model that ARI uses for its leadership training is where participants come out of their communities. These are leaders coming out of their communities, and they're here where they develop principles, they learn theory, some practical experience, and then they go back and implement it. Where they must adjust, they must use local resources, they must adjust everything they've learned to the social political situation.
When I go back in Uganda, I will tell them how to intercrop the crops so that they can sustain themselves, because when we have a diversity of crops, I think we can be free, my community will be hunger free.
I came from Nepal, eastern part of Nepal, very close from Mount Everest. And in my community, it's not like a flat, up and down hillside, but we can grow many things. I have a note from his lecture, and I already said I'm very impressed because it's very similar. His place and my place is very close. Why I choose the pig pen? Because I want to do in my community also, so that I'm learning here, and I have already 2 pigs in my community, and I want to grow more pig.
Chatterjee's wisdom about this kind of development and that importance of bond of local community is very much useful for the farmers or for the people in Nepal also and in Zambia also.
I'm Lydia and I'm from Zambia. I remember Chatterjee as a father. He encouraged us on integrated farming, where we keep the animals, we maintain the soil, and also grow different types of crops so that we maintain our lives. Mr. Chatterjee, who taught me a lot of things on sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture is an ongoing process which we have to live with. Without sustainable agriculture, we cannot produce healthy things, healthy vegetables, healthy crops, and as a result of that, we have to eat healthy food. What I learned from Chatterjee is that animals, human beings, the soil, we are all interrelated. Interrelated in the sense that we keep these animals. These animals, they produce manure, which we use to enrich the soil. After enriching the soil, we grow crops and eat them again. In the same way, we are trying to maintain the eco-balance by living in harmony with all the living things like the animals, the insects, the microorganisms, and also maintaining the soil.
The reports we get back are not only from the graduates, but they're also from their sending organizations. And one thing that they say over and over again is how active they are. And what we interpret that to mean is how they are transformed. They are the first ones to do that difficult task, that living into the model of servant leader. Hey, better, swing!
Hello, Chatterjee. Thank you for teaching us about agriculture, especially your philosophy, the best. I remember in my heart to keep nature and not only to how to good farmer, but you say how to help poor people. This I try to make consolation from Chatterjee. The first is keep balance. Balance is mean balance nature balance social, and balance economy. The purpose is to keep healthy nature, healthy social and healthy economy.
He has a strong philosophy, and then one of the philosophy is that if there is one thing in nature that has a lot of function, like chicken doesn't only lay eggs, but also it has a lot of function in nature. But farmers try to utilize chicken as a machine of laying eggs only. But Chatterjee's way of thinking, I believe that chicken has much more function, like scratching the soil and picking up the insect, and then whether a lot of function of one thing in nature. And then they just focus on the productive function, and then they try to maximize to get the profit from it.
Chatterjee is a great example of someone who works on the grassroots with marginalized people. And the ARI approach is that that's where real change is going to happen, change for the better for marginalized or indigenous peoples. So Chatterjee speaks from that perspective, where you work not top down, but from the base with those who are in that situation. And that's where he lived and that's where he worked. So he can speak to the power of that, where then they exert pressure upward for change.
Chatterjee is a very clever man. Always he just tell us very simple thing in our life to do. So she's a very nice teacher. So when you use the knowledge Chatterjee you use, you can maybe survive in our local village. So we don't need much to use kind of non-tillage, non-tillage. So he say no mulching, no weeding. So things can grow if you use your coconut.
Certain sense, it is when he start from bad area to start agriculture, and he saw has many things what have done. So through that, also the challenge, we saw the challenge, what they find the challenge in India. In the India also people, before I was thinking many people in India, they are rich. But through him, we find the other people is poor. But they already start practice in agriculture, practice working together, practice how to stop the discrimination. So this is the many things we told us, and we come with our idea how we can do like Chatterjee Sensei. Yeah, because like ARI motto, we need to learn from each other.